Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate, and fanboys are doing backflips right now when they shouldn't be. Uh, God,
Yeah, I know
you
something.
knew I was going to have a freaking
Oh,
fit. Oh, you know what? It is because
when Jake texts you about four times to say, when are we doing the podcast? When are we doing the podcast? I'm like, here we fucking go, right? Here
Oh
we
my
go.
God! I know you're Mister. Your optimism, but you know what? I thought I had an
Mr.
epiphany.
Sensible.
Unfortunately, it was not a good one. The This has turned into a show. This has turned into a WWE show. WWE wrestling show where they're trying to pick who wins. They want to pick who wins by who's in the stands, and it's like fanboy operated. Do you get my thing? That's they're trying to do it through marketing.
Marketing.
Yeah, they're saying, okay, we have X amount of fanboys out there, and they're the ones that come to the shows. They're the one who have X amount more revenue. We want them to win. They want the Japanese to win, and they give a kickback too. So because they have such a bigger budget.
Okay. Okay.
Don't start with it. Don't try to defend them. I don't just don't.
I'm not defending them, right? But look, right. Let's genuinely be honest, right? Yamaha and Honda are not a threat. They're not. We, as proper racers, even with concessions,
They can't be that bad. My God, I
they're
mean, they
fuck.
got it. They can't. I mean, there's. I know. I'm the one always saying they're weak engineers, right? And they are, but they can't be like the Three Stooges. They got to win somewhere along the line. If they keep hindering the Europeans, and God forbid, if they want
They're not
somebody,
hindering the. Whoa, right. So let's go to your first question. They cannot be that bad. Really? I think they can. I think they are. When you look at the championship and the standings, it's very, very clear that they can and they are, right? Because they're just fucking. It's actually fucking frightening. Like I can put it to you this way, right? And this is no
question as a fan. Now you're a fan,
no.
you're not a fanboy, right? Don't you get? Isn't it a point of being embarrassing? Going, I can't believe they haven't pulled up yet. I mean, they haven't done something, you know. And Yamaha, you got to give. I even give Yamaha a break because they were, when they ran into the inline four, that's a physics problem, not an engineering problem. So they were just hanging themselves out there too long. You
Okay,
didn't know you were going to fix that.
all right. Let's just look at this rationally. Not a fanboy, not a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Honda have 37 points between the five riders. That's what they have. Pecco Bagnaia, in the first two rounds of the championship, had 36 points. Does that put it into context for you?
It does, but isn't it?
So are they that bad?
Enough shit against the
Yes.
wall, and as big as they are, and as much bigger budget they have, they got to hit it.
But
They
Jake,
gotta hit it.
you can have the biggest fucking budget you can that they have, right? Right. But they can't. They're not. Whatever they're doing, they do not understand what they're doing, right?
If you have enough monkeys in front of enough, you remember the old saying: if you have enough monkeys in front of enough typewriters, eventually the one of them is going to write War and Peace.
Jake, Honda's problem is not their engine.
No,
we all know that, right?
No.
So having them open engine, well, not open engines, right? Free engine development. It's not really going to make a fucking difference to Honda. They don't understand the vehicle dynamics. Will it make a difference to Yamaha? It will, because they're probably going to use. I wouldn't be surprised, and I was thinking about this the other day. I would not be surprised in Sepang if that V4 at the test comes out. and run it for 2 years, get the data, understand it. Now, saying this, are Yamaha completely fucking demented?
In that case, no, because if they hit the wall with an inline four, what's the loss about using the V4? You know what I'm saying? If you hit the wall with not literally, but if your engineering has hit the wall, there's just
but a massive regulation change is coming in, where the dimension size of the fucking engine is going to change completely, right?
Mm-hmm.
And teams are looking at running an inline four for the 2027 regulations, and now they're going to go for a V. So my thoughts on this is like, are you fucking demented? Now, saying that, I still reckon that when Marmoni was signed in 2022, he was tinkering and tinkering and tinkering with the inline four, but they were developing a V4. And 2 years, like, lads, let's not be fucking thing. They didn't decide last week that they were building a V4.
Right, exactly.
This has been in a project for a minimum of 2 years.
In the morning and go, you know what? Let's do a V4.
Let's do a V4, right? So there is that, right? The engine development, it's not going to, Honda's not going to benefit from engine development, right? Their engine is good. They have a couple of specs of engines. There's nothing going to be radical in that engine in the next 2 years. Why? Because it's been fucked out. So they're not really going to benefit.
Now, Pecco said it's slow as mud, but I think the Honda was slow as mud, but I think they were doing that to get handling. Personally, the slower it is, the less horsepower it is, the easier.
Well, the less horsepower it's generating, the less.
Go from there. Yeah.
But look, I don't see them. I don't see them benefiting any more than they currently are, even with the engine while other engines are being frozen. I see the other teams benefiting actually, because they're turning around now and saying, okay, so we're not wasting our time developing our 1000cc engine over the next 2 years. We're putting all our fucking engine development research and focus into 2027. So for me, and look, this is just the way I think it, Honda and Yamaha are actually going to fall further behind by trying to develop the 1000cc engines. Now,
my problem with the whole thing is Dorna, not the manufacturer, is Dorna wanting them to win so bad that they burn down the house trying.
But they did. Wait. No.
Like, what's next? What's next? With Dorna going, okay, what's next to make them win? What's next to make them win? Pretty soon, all European manufacturers have to run a Briggs and Stratton.
But Jake, they haven't changed the rules, man. They haven't changed the rules of concessions. They're still limited to the amount of tires that they were limited to this year, next year. So you can do all the fucking engine development you want to. You're still stuck to whatever X amount of tires that Group D in the concessions is done.
Right.
But so they're not giving them anything extra.
All right,
secondly,
using a different scenario. But how about they'll freeze European frames for the next 4 years.
They won't do that, for fuck's sake. They can't. Like this engine freeze, firstly, is not just put in by Dorna, right? You do understand and realize that, yeah?
Yeah.
That was a discussion a number of months ago that I had.
It's actually the FIM is the one. I should have said
the FIM and the Teams Association had discussed it. Why it's only being discussed now and being brought out now was that there was a delay to it because Aprilia actually didn't want the engine freeze for 2025.
Aprilia?
Yeah, they didn't want anyone's engines freezing or frozen and whatever. And when they were talking about the 2027 regulations, there was a discussion about the engine freeze. And that was muted at the time by Aprilia, actually, because I believe that they found something, or they believe that they found something. So, and now it is coming into effect. And it does make sense, right? You have
what happened to the unilateral, the unanimous decision bit?
For which?
For this, then there are units. You don't have to.
So yeah. Well, like in a regulation like that, or sorry, in a regulation like this, right, where it's to do with a change, right? It's not a regulation change. Actually, it's kind of more of an enforcement. Normally, if they wanted to ban ride height, just say for instance, in the middle or before a regulation change, that would have to go through the teams, and all the teams would have to do it, right? But when they were talking about the 2027 regulations, this this engine development ban was part of those in new regulations, right? So it wasn't changing the current ones, but it was putting in a new asterisk. So therefore, they were able to do it. But it was initially that Ducati, KTM, and Aprilia voted yes to have the development freeze, and Honda and Yamaha voted no. Obviously, the concessions were not fully in at the original time of this, but they were in when thing. And this was one of the questions that I asked, was that if there is an engine development freeze, does that, and you have concessions that allow you to develop your engine during the year, are you going to still get them? And of course, that was the answer. But
that's what I mean.
The freeze wasn't written in the original announcement of the 2027 regulations, because what happened was it then became that Aprilia said no, so then it became 3-2. So that ruling wasn't announced during the thing. However, Aprilia now have changed their mind and they've gone back to the other side of the fence, and it has been brought in. So Aprilia was actually the swing vote.
You wouldn't think so. Maybe it was just money.
Well, no. Like if you look at Aprilia, what's the weakest part of the Aprilia, besides their understanding of tires, of course? The engine.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I'm surprised they went with no engine development.
Who? Aprilia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look, I think they, like, you do look at the TN, and like I think Rivola is probably under the most pressure that he has been under ever. You know, it was fine last year. They didn't have a title sponsor, and he's mentioned this a few times. They didn't have a title sponsor, and this, that, and the other. And then they, but it was okay because they were winning. So Piaggio were happy to throw a few bob in. Now they've had a fucking pretty pathetic season, if I'm honest. Yes, they had a good time with Bev, reckon that, but they've had a pretty pathetic season. You know, the last few rounds have been embarrassing, to be fair. Do you know what I mean? And you know, he's going to feel the pressure now of like, okay, we're putting all this money in. You don't have a title sponsor. You failed. You've openly admitted that. Do you know what I mean? So I think Aprilia leadership could turn nasty on him. Do you know what I mean? So, so by going back and reducing the cost of saying, okay, we don't have 2 engine development programs going, because remember, that is going to be a fucking saucy thing to do. Like what Yamaha are doing with the V4. If my money, like. And just so people know that we're not so fucking daft, right? If the engine regulation is coming in at the start of 2025 for the start of 2027, right? So the engine freeze, I should say, right? That's 2 years. So look at the timeline of Meyer Marmoni. He came in 22 and 24. Now, if they roll out that V4 anywhere between now and the start of the season, that is perfectly within timeline. If it comes out the middle of 2025, that puts it that they started development in 2023. So there you have it, folks. That's kind of the life of an engine. And you can see it that the life of an engine is because that's when the manufacturers have agreed to put in the.
Well, how long is it? How long is it? How long can they? What's the end date of engine development?
2nd of March 2025. They have to have the bikes homologated by that stage.
No, it's like tomorrow. Yeah.
In engineering terms, it's tomorrow. It's not a long time, and now you can see and understand why Ducati were very focused on just the engine in the Sano, getting that right. Because it's going to be a big thing, like, because you're stuck with that fucking engine for 2 years if it's wrong, you know?
Right. Christ, I'm just sick of this. They should have left this. They should have never done this goddamn 2027 engine. They should not. I would say never, but they should have put that off on the circumstances, the economic situations of all parties involved with the, KTM and Aprilia, and it would have been a much smoother. It was just not good timing to put that 2027. They should have made it a 2029. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. But look, like 2027 realistically isn't achievable.
Yeah, but it's an expensive, achievable thing.
It is, but look, there's no. You're either all in or you're all out. You know what I mean? And like the engine technology of the V, the 1000cc. Realistically, for a lot of teams, there's a lot of transfer overable stuff there. You know what I mean? So it's not. But whereas the Yamaha are coming in, not really. How would I say? If they go from a V to or from an inline to a V, it's a massive move. It's a massive risk. What happens then? What fucking happens? Like if we find out then in 27 that the three Europeans have gone to an inline 4.
Yeah.
Like who's going to look so fucking
Watch
stupid?
it win. During the FIM. Oh my God! How did that happen? Son of a bitch.
It would be interesting to see.
I would be I would have to be. I'm so non-biased. I want everything on a flat, level playing field, right? But Christ, I'm starting to turn non-biased. I'm starting to turn biased with all this bullshit they're throwing at us.
Yeah, but look,
light.
Okay, but when you were in a boxing ring, right, and you were fighting the fella that wasn't a threat, do you know what I mean? When you were punching him, you actually felt sorry for him.
They're always a threat. When a guy becomes an opponent, right? When you don't make him a threat, that's the whole expression.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. When there's when there's a skinny teenager trying to fucking punch you in the street, and you're just looking at him, and you're going, "Will you fuck off?" Right? Listen, right? Look, I'll put my fucking jaw out there, but I'm telling you, you're going to break your own fucking knuckles and fucking whatnot hitting me, right?
I used to say, you can't beat me, you can't even hit me.
But my point here is that he's going to hurt himself more hitting you than you are going to getting hit, right?
Right.
Not a threat, right? That's Yamaha and Honda right now. Not a threat. Not a fucking threat. Do you know what I mean? They are pissing in the wind and just enjoying the golden spray of their own champagne.
Even though I say they're weak, I just can't believe the shit on the wall theory doesn't hit pay dirt every once in a while. It's just it's unbelievable the consistency of the fuck ups.
But they're not going to close that gap, man. There's not a fucking hope.
Did it work today? No. Did it work tomorrow? No. Did it work Thursday? You think they go?
But if you look at Yamaha and you look at Honda, they're not going in the way of did that work today? Did it work tomorrow? Because they're not trying enough fucking things. Like look at Yamaha's testing, right? They don't have a fucking permanent test rider. The permanent test rider is out sick. Now I know there's
surprised me, but I thought Honda's testing the hell out of everything.
They can't. They don't have the fucking tires.
Huh?
They don't have the tires, do they? They have open testing and they have more testing and this and that later, but they're still restricted by tires. Yeah. They just get more tires than what Ducati have.
You know what it is? We need to run the we need to run the FIM.
Why?
So we can just go, listen, open testing, let the best man win, end the story.
But Rivola and even Gigi said they don't want open testing. So listen, what you're going to get there is you're going to get, it's money. Yeah. Money, right? And they don't have.
We'll keep it in. We'll have a discussion on the terms of cash, but of expenditures. But Let him free. Let him. This is a MotoGP. This is prototype racing. Let him rock and roll.
It is prototype racing, but it's prototype racing to a regulation, right? And the same, like I would argue with anyone. Argue with fucking anyone all day long, right?
We gonna argue with anyone anyway.
Right. But I will, right? Argue with anyone. Technically, World Superbikes is prototype racing too.
What?
Technically, World Superbike racing is prototype too.
That is. You're right. Yeah.
You can go and buy a bike that's fucking similar, but you cannot go and buy that bike.
People don't realize how much it's into that bike.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot go and buy Bautista's exact spec bike. You couldn't even buy his last year's fucking spec bike.
Yeah, remember, I bought a factory. I bought a factory bike.
You didn't buy a factory fucking Ducati or a factory Kawasaki.
Or a factory bike, right? And nothing was the same as every single part in that fucking thing was bespoke.
So like any dickhead walking around the place going like, I have a Ducati or I have the BMW and I'm fucking top rack. No, you're not, fucking honey. You know, it's night and fucking day the difference between that bike and the one that you're on. You know what I mean? Gone are the days of where World Superbikes was, you know, you change the air filter, you put on a big fart can. Do you know what I mean? And off you fucking go. Ain't like that anymore, honey. Do you know what I mean? We ain't in Kansas. And you know, I've seen an awful lot of people writing like, "Oh, Joe, Superbikes is going to be the same as thing." I'm like,
oh, in this case, my nephew, the engineers, and then he said he'll take your money on that. He said that the 40 horsepower. He said that bore is gonna the restriction of that bore is gonna kill him.
Hey, so look, it's not my money. It's fucking Mr. What's his name in KTM who was saying he reckons 40 horsepower. 40 horsepower. So, you know, anyway. For me, it makes no difference. But look, when you look at it, you know, and it's one of the things that we're I think it's like people are talking about it's prototypes, it's prototype things. Yes, it's prototype racing. Those bikes are prototype, and we get stuff down off of those prototypes. But every single year and since MotoGP started, it's prototype to a regulation. Remember that.
Well, yeah, there's no such thing as a non-crazy.
Well, no. See, a prototype, but a prototype bike, realistically, if you're looking at it in ways, right, would be no rules, no regulations. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's the fucking thing. But saying that it's prototype to a regulation, like I can guarantee you, I will guarantee it that the 850s. After the first season will be well faster than the Superbikes. They will have to be. Do you know what I mean? The fucking speed these things are going to go around the corner is going to be fucking insane.
I want to show me the money.
All right, no problem. How much are we talking, Jay?
The money. I'm going to see that one.
Mm-hmm.
Show me the money. I want to see that one.
I guarantee it'll happen. Like,
unless
listen,
they cut the no. Let's go on unless they cut the Superbikes down.
They
won't. I can see them doing that for.
They won't.
No,
they won't. They won't. Like, I don't think. Yeah, like, and the Superbikes are just again though, so people know, they're not your fucking normal Superbike. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a reason that you go and buy a $60,000 Ducati, and if you wanted to go and buy Bautista's, if you were even able to buy Bautista's World Superbike, you wouldn't have much change from 250,000. So where does that fucking extra few bob go? Is that going into standard set of fucking exhaust cans and thing? It isn't my fucking arse. Like, it's no. So look, you can have it as like the closest thing to and it's not even, is the super stocks. Do you know what I mean? In the super, and I think that is that gone from World Superbikes? Like there, you're talking that's production.
1,000 cc's has, yes. 1,000 cc super stock.
No, they have it in VSV, right? But that's the closest thing to off the out of the showroom, fart can, whatnot. That's the closest thing. So if anyone wants to go and see the super stock, now saying that, I will mention it. Super stock bike versus a super bike around the Isle of Man TT, probably about second, two in it. Right.
You know what's surprising is Moto
different.
America has this as super stock in 1,000, and it's not that much different than their super bike.
Yeah, but
time-wise,
yeah. But I can tell you, right? We know from the test that the lads were doing in the MotoGP bike, like how much was it? Pecco Bagnaia was 4 seconds slower than the fastest person in the World Superbike test, where they were out on V4 S's. So if Pecco Bagnaia, who if you put them on a fucking similar bike is probably 2 seconds faster than them, you know what I mean? It's 4 seconds slower. You know where we're going on this. You know what I mean? So
I can't even see him being on the same bike. I can't even see him being. I would think it would be more like he would be 4 seconds faster than average Joe.
Well, look, put it this way: 20 seconds and you're lapped, or 20 laps and you're lapped.
Yeah.
So, around Portimao or so like that, you know what I mean? So, and look, I think it's interesting though. I am looking forward to the regulations because I want to see, is this a fuck up or is it a thing? Because the one thing I do know about Liberty, right, is that if something is wrong and if something is going to affect the show, they're very fast to change it.
Are they?
They are, yeah.
Okay, good.
So like they put in these cars and they found out there is some issues with the race, and they were very quick to get that change done. Now there is some rumors around that Lewis Hamilton is trying to buy a MotoGP team. So there's
God damn, you are like a detective. I swear to God. I try to get the same stuff that he gets, and I just can't even get close in the United States of the info that he gets.
I'm better looking.
He's damn near as good as the guys that are at the track, for Christ's sake. I'm just giving you a little,
Thanks.
It's unreal. Anyhow, go ahead, buddy.
So there was talk ages ago that he was interested in Gresini, and quite recently he's kind of Lewis has reached out to Liberty. Now Lewis is I'm not a personal Lewis fan. I wouldn't be a fan of his at all. But saying that, he is a bike fan. He's really, really into bikes. There was a thing about Gresini, which turned out to be not true. And I don't know whether it's actually true that he wants to buy it. I think there's another story and rumor around about it again. I think all of this really is to hype up the thing about the media exposure around MotoGP.
This is a sizzle.
So now look, I would think he definitely does have the funding to buy it. And I just remember, right, Liberty itself bought Formula One a number of years ago for, was it 4 or 5 billion? I can't remember.
I think it was 4, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
It's now worth in the region of 21, 22 billion, right? The cheapest you could buy a Formula One team at the moment, now just buy an existing team, right, is 1.2 billion. Billion with a B, right? Now, before, these teams were changing hands for 4 to 5 to 600 million for a mid-range team. With the FIA and the thing, they brought in a cost cap budget. How they do it, how they actually manage the cost cap, I'm not exactly sure. But let's just say the first year, like the likes of Ferrari and Red Bull and Mercedes, they were spending 500-600 million a year on development, right? So it would make Honda look like piss poor, right? So, right?
If you can believe that. Yeah.
So when you look at it, they brought in a cost cap of 150 million the first year, 140, 130. I think it's down to around 120 million a year.
Wasn't the caps up to like at one point where they were spending this is what I read before they looked at F1 at all. It was like 500 million up to the
but that
how can you spend that much money?
But sure, look, that's what it is. They're car makers; they can write it off, and you know what I mean. It's research and development. Like you look at every hybrid out there now, right? Every hybrid car came from Formula One.
Yeah, Ferrari didn't even gross 500 million or 600. You know, I mean,
what they did.
You know,
they did. But look, that's
in car sales.
No, but they had long time sponsors who weren't even on the car. Like, what's that for the Philip Morris who owns Marlboro? Yeah. They weren't even on the fucking car, and they were still getting 150 million a year off them.
You're shitting me.
No, because of course you want to be involved with that brand. Do you know what I mean? And then the EU made them get rid of.
I'm sorry, no, I wouldn't. 150 million. Yeah, what do you get out of it? Oh, nothing.
they put a barcode on it, and then they went to Mission Win Now and all of this stuff. So look, there is
the races. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you see, their logo was still. It wasn't a logo as in saying Marlboro, right? But it was. It looked like a box. It was the same color. It was in the same position where the Marlboro sponsoring used to be, so people would automatically just recognize it. Like you wouldn't even read Marlboro when I was there. But anyway,
is that where they said Minnow? Wow,
Mission Win Now. It said Win Now. Yeah. But if you looked at it, it was like the M of Marlboro.
Yeah.
So look, it was cheeky, but anyway. But look, it was. So now they're on a budget of like 120 or 130 million a year. I'm going to say this, right, because this is something I can guarantee you that's not happening in Ducati MotoGP, Honda MotoGP, Yamaha MotoGP, or any fucking team in MotoGP. Every Formula One team is now making a profit. Figure that out.
Yeah, that's.
They are taking in more in sponsorship than they're spending on development because they can't spend it on development.
That's amazing.
So that's part of what Liberty and those have done. But what it's done, it's put up the share price of all the teams. And think, so if you're a manufacturer, and this is why Dorna have shut out the manufacturers, it's like, okay, if you want to buy a team, it's going to be very fucking expensive. So like if you're a small team that's struggling, Grassini, Trackhouse Racing, all of a sudden your $200 million team is now suddenly worth $600 million. Why? Because there's fucking no entries available. So if you want, as a manufacturer, want to get in, you have to buy a team. So what does that do? Sure, like if one team goes for a 500 or 600 million, it'll just fucking every other team will have an instant valuation. So if
it's like housing. I mean, you go by the
supply and demand.
Yeah, supply and demand in the surrounding area.
Yep. So,
you're doing damn good for a guy with a hangover. I got to give you that too.
I need to stop.
You're better all lubed up. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I have a few pints there now again in a minute. Hair of the dog. I better not say anything about animals around Americans.
I have to figure that out. I haven't seen it yet.
If anyone you watched the debate the other night, you know about the animals. Stay away from the animals. What else is I going to go through? So the V4. I think it's weird. Ducati at the test, I thought it was interesting that they were checking the engine and the frame. I found it a little bit weird that the Crafar and your man were kind of bigging it up that Mark would try the 2025 engine, or the 2025 bike, because it wasn't on the cards really at all. Do you know what I mean? It just gave a lot of fanboys a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think realistically, it is at the stage of it's too early to give it to him yet. Do you know what I mean? And he's just, in my view, he's just, and I won't say he's figured out the GP24 or 23 yet. You know, there were still a couple of things with that race. Like, I genuinely believe that when he went past Pecco and it was sketchy, Pecco was like, I'm not even going to fucking try anymore. Do you know what I mean? I'm just not going to risk it. Like, I've just got back the points. Do you know what I mean? There was a funny moment between Pecco and Jorge Martin. I don't know. Did you see it?
No.
Pecco and Martin met after the race, and Pecco was like, "I saw you going into the pit lane." And he was like, "Where the hell is he going?" But he said and they just started laughing. I suppose the big thing for me that came out this week was this fucking radio thing, and I really, really don't. I do like the warning from the one-way radio from race direction to riders. I love that. I think fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I thought that for safety. Just as a safety, there's something up there. Blah 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 blah.
Yep, it's pre-recorded voice. Danger at turn 3. Danger at turn 5.
They don't have to have it pre-recorded, but just something that tells them, "Hey."
But you need to have it pre-recorded, so that way then you can get it automatically going with the GPS. Whereas if a race director has to go, there could be multiple incidents. Do you know what I mean? And what you want to have is one voice. Do you know what I mean? So you don't want multiple voices going into someone's head. And this is sort of shit that I really genuinely know about, because I used to put warning lights on the side of racetracks. I did the Le Mans series. I'll never forget the diesel Audis frightening the shit out of me every single fucking time they come past, because I couldn't hear the fucking things. Because like you'd hear the V12 Aston, and she's like, and you're like, that's an Aston's coming anyway. If you joke, because you used to have your back to the track and whatnot, right? And next time the fucking diesel would come, next thing all you hear is, and you're like, the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because like it'd be going with like fucking 3,000 RPM, like, so it'd be like, wouldn't even be fucking. And there's the Aston, then she's fucking screaming at 12 or 13,000. Anyway, so look, I completely get the need for thing. I don't think it's right. A rider should be able to talk back to race control. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's.
You know what? Simon was talking about that. He says they're going to want that.
Well, I was going through some of the riders.
They said that whatchamacallit's going to want it. Liberty's going to want it. For the fan aspect of it.
Oh yeah, but like realistically, you're in the middle of competition. Your team puts out a black flag or a long lap penalty. What's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go on the radio. Mm-hmm. Fucking langer, you prick! What the fuck are you doing? Crash. Because you're too busy fucking yapping. And not fucking riding, right?
Yes, and then you got another person coming in there too, and everything's piled on top of each other. You know.
Yeah, look, in my view, the riders are already over fucking worked, right? And listen,
they already got 4 buttons to hit and 3,
3 levers to pull and a parachute to put out at the fucking end of the straight and all of this.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, like for me,
I'm sorry, folks. They're not that. It's the sun's hitting those dashboards, and I don't know about your bikes, but mine. The sun hits them. You can't see it all the time. You got to be up here like this. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I think there's nothing wrong with the dashboard for giving them information, or look, even just the one-way traffic.
I meant the quality when the sun hits them.
I know that, but look, even for giving them the direction or whatnot, but then I think the biggest thing for me though, right, is and we've seen this in Formula One so much so that all the team radios are now monitored by the FIA, and if people are coaching or whatever, there is penalties now applied to drivers. So let's just say if during a race I turn around and be like, where am I losing to the fella in front of me? And they're like, oh, you're taking a wider line in corner 2, 5, and 7.
Mm-hmm.
You need to take that line tighter. Now
that gives you a penalty?
That will give you a penalty because you're not supposed to be coaching.
Look, I don't know the FIA.
Yeah. So like that's in the FIA in regulations in Formula One. So, but they've had to put that in because of coaching going on. Like riders have rider coaching after they look at the data. Do you know what I mean? They try to understand where it's going, and I get that it could be a useful tool in practice, but it should never be in a race of like, you're losing time. Pick it up. Your lap board's there. Look at your fucking lap board. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't be. And I don't know, has anyone ever experienced someone talking to you on a radio in a helmet, right?
I don't like it.
Very off-putting. It's
I don't like
very,
it. People have that. Can you talk about the intercoms between riders?
Well, look, that's fine because you wouldn't be in a race situation. You'd be kind of more in a leisure situation, right? But if
I still don't like it. I like that. If I need to talk to somebody, I'll go, the old-fashioned this way. Yes,
Yeah. But you know what I mean. Like for me,
I don't get on a bike to chit chat with everybody.
Like I had it in I had a basic system when I was racing go-karts, and obviously it wasn't actually allowed. But we were testing it, and it was very, very off-putting. So like your dad, my dad was trying to contact me only on the straights, obviously. But at the end of the straight, the fucking go-kart's at 22,000 RPM, right? You ain't hearing shit. Right. Do you know what I mean? Is that this thing is ready to fucking nuke itself and come into the seat inside you, right? And
it's a 2-stroke, right?
2-stroke, yeah. 2-stroke, 1,000 or 100cc direct drive from the crank to the axle.
I showed you the engine, the Briggs & Stratton engine we ran in the racing lawnmowers, right?
Yeah. Now, but this thing is just, these things now were just fucking like just
120 horsepower out of a freaking 1,000cc lawnmower engine.
Yeah, but this is a go-kart now that's fucking nimble as fuck, right? But
no, they really, it's weird. They say you have to use a lawnmower chassis, but by the time you were allowed, all the shit you're allowed to cut off, you were back to having you might as well just say give me
a frame, chassis, yeah. Like these things now used to choke the engine and all before you go into the corner to rich the mixture up again for coming out of the corner. Like, it's fucking. Anyway, used to be on it, but you'd hear shit. But when you would hear it, you know what I mean, it would distract you for a couple of milliseconds. Do you know what I mean? Because like he would say, "Oh, losing in sector 2." Do you know what I mean? And you're like, "Fucking sector away." Do you know what I mean? You're in the middle of fucking combat. Do you know what I mean? It's just. I don't know. Anyway, it shouldn't happen, but it probably will. And now, saying that, as I did mention about Liberty, you can go on board and you can watch your favorite rider or driver in Formula One. You can listen to their team radio. You can do all of this, but it's a little bit different to motorbikes because the F1 drivers, in my view, are locked into position. You know what I mean? You're seat belted down into the fucking thing. Like, this is one of the things that people don't understand, and I've always said this about bikes, right? I've been in a car crash in a single-seater, right? And yes, you have stuff around you to protect you, right? But if you're heading towards an Armco barrier, for instance, right? And if you pierce that fucking thing, right? And it's happened loads of times, especially when you're racing Formula Ford and Van Dien, fucking this and that and the other, and Formula V, right? If you pierce the barrier, right? Your car is so low to the ground, you might go through the second and the third one, so down to the bottom. But the top one, you mightn't go through, right? And if you're strapped into a fucking car, right? Your head could go fucking splat. right? And this is what I've always said this. I would prefer to be on a motorbike in a crash, because at least I can decide whether I need to jump off the fucking thing or whatnot. Do you know what I mean? Rather than be stuck in the fucking car and like, yeah, this wall is going to come and fucking decapitate me. I can fucking see it happening. Now I know Formula One and all of those have halos, lads. The junior racing and the clubman racing of open wheels.
Halo, the only thing
they don't fucking. No, the halo does
you're gonna see it in heaven. It's the only next halo you're gonna see.
Exactly. Yeah. Now the halo in Formula One is brilliant and it's worked. That's the pinnacle of motorsport. But the grassroots of motorsport, they have no fucking halo, lads. Do you know what I mean? So, but look, I have seen it. I've seen many crashes like that where you're strapped inside in the car, or you're strapped inside in the car and the fucking thing rolls, and then because it's an older type of car, what starts leaking out of the motherfucking thing?
Gasoline.
Okay. And what is there? A fucking hot exhaust, and you're trapped underneath the fucking car in a gravel trap. Yeah, I'll take tumbling through that gravel trap off a bike any fucking day. Any, even though I might walk away, no problem from that. That fucking fear of being trapped inside there and no one can get to you. Yeah, I'll put up with the 6 months in hospital.
On a nicer note, though, with Simon, if Simon said this, and the guy on Crash, the old guy, Chris.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't fucking. Actually, my friend, just to say that, right? So,
God, he used to race. He was an old-time 500cc racer. He's on OMG or
Keith Young.
Keith. I always call him Chris. They were saying that the Aprilia guys, the Aprilia guy for Fernandez, never went out twice with the same parts. Every time he went out, because he had so many parts backed up, and they wouldn't give any parts to anybody else.
Well, he was back to back in the 23 and 24, but he was doing the development because he's the only Aprilia rider there next year.
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, like you can't.
I know, but they were both saying I think that's the reason they're back, and they're not doing well. I said, I'm thinking to myself, it's more than that, not just that.
Aprilia don't understand the tires. They just don't understand the tires. Yeah. And, I've mentioned this, I think it was in today's video, or it could be tomorrow's video. I always think of Sylvain Gintoli, and he, I obviously look for family reasons. He's in my thoughts, quite regularly, and I hope everything is going well. But he always said, activate the tires, activate the tires, activate the tires. If you can't activate those tires, you ain't going fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
And Aprilia, they just cannot activate those tires. They don't know how. Simple.
It's strange because at one point they were working, handling was great, and then all of a sudden,
I would
drifter, nothing.
Like if I was to look at the three main areas of Aprilia, right? Aerodynamics, they're probably the leaders, right? Engine, they're probably third.
Third, yeah. I was going to say third, yeah.
Right? Vehicle dynamics or vehicle performance or whatever you want to call it, they're last. They're more lost on understanding the tires than Honda's and Yamaha are on understanding the fucking regulations.
I can't believe they're Honda Yamaha bad.
I would tend to disagree with you on that because they have absolutely everything else.
But they cannot. In case they would go nowhere.
But they are. But where they had a good strong race at Silverstone.
Yeah.
And they had a good strong race in Portimao and Kota.
But they're still finishing ahead of Honda and Yamaha.
Yeah.
Except for Quartararo. Quartararo's been doing a hell of a ride lately.
Quartararo, and this is one of the things, right? Again, we go through and we talk about the riders and this, that, and the other, right? Yamaha have 72 points as of now. And out of those 72 points, Fabio Quartararo has...
You need a
61.
Japanese cup down there. Just has all the light.
But that did you hear that? How many points he has? 71.
73. No, what do you say?
Fabio, they have 70. Yamaha have 72 points, and out of those 72 points, Fabio Quartararo has scored 61.
Oh, okay.
So
a little bit of an monopoly there.
Small bit, but what we've always said, and I've always said, is you judge it by its second rider, right? So the second rider is Rins.
Yeah, we've always been together on that one, pal.
So, so if you look at Rins and Mir have 15 points. So
we had a lot of firsts on this site. We're the first ones to say you judge it by a second rider, and we're the first ones to say it's the bike, not the rider. The rider's holding up the bike. Like Honda is. It's all about the rider, not the bike, because the bike sucks. When everybody was afraid to say so, everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna let her. You guys are in trouble now."
It's actually very funny. My buddy was putting the piss out of me last night. I don't know where. It was last night, and he was like, "So you do MotoGP? You do YouTube?" That's actually what he says. You do YouTube? I said, "No, I do." Yeah. Anyway, we were chatting away, and I was like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "And you do a podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Does anyone else do podcasts?" And I was like, "Oh, there's like some really, really popular major ones out there from magazines and websites that are doing this, that, He's like, "Do you ever get invited onto any of those?" And I was like, "No." And he said, "Well, yours must be shit, so."
Thanks, asshole.
So I was like, "Yeah, you fucking dickhead, it's your round."
Let's see if you're out there.
So it's either that we are shit or they're afraid of us. So that's why I don't know.
We have more people than OMG does.
We don't.
What?
No, they get more views on their podcast than we do, to be fair. But we currently have more subscribers.
Yes.
But they'll pass us out. They should. They have all the insights.
They should. They have all the
But anyway, no. So yeah, thanks Jack. Break. What else happened this week? I didn't do too much more on the tests. Like a lot of the stuff that were being tested, there wasn't actually that anything really interesting. Ducati had the new frame out. You could see it slightly. Now it's always hard to see a Ducati frame, but you kind of saw where it was some of the differences. Like it is class to see a Ducati frame because it is minimal. Jack
That's
Miller.
so odd, isn't it? We have the Ducati frame, which comes down to your pivot point down by the swing arm. And the Ducati is like thin. It's like 3/4 of an inch. And then you have the Honda. It looks like
a fucking girder.
Yeah. It's a girder down there. It's like, okay, somebody's wrong. Somebody's off.
Valentino Rossi this week. I don't know. Did you see it? I couldn't be arsed doing a video on it now because for me it's fucking old news. Like going on about the Marquez incident in Sepang all those fucking years ago and this, that, and the other, and so like. But all I actually, when I was reading or read a small bit of it, and I was like, oh, this shit again. Like, I understand Rossi blew his fucking top when Marquez was pricking around with him, and he was pricking around with him, right? Because Rossi called him out, and Mark was like, "Fine, fuck you," right? So
Called
they were, huh?
Called him out on what? There's so many bullshit the sites out there saying, "Oh, he says this. He's mad at this. He's mad." Like it's like a
no. So I think it was in the previous race in it was Australia, I think. Rossi, there was Iannone, Marquez, Lorenzo, Rossi, and I think Marquez was in Rossi's thing. He was saying to Marquez, because you're out of the championship, you're hoping Lorenzo wins it, and your thing, whatever. I didn't see it that way in the Australian race, but he then came to Sepang, and he said it on the Thursday press conference that he thinks that Mark was doing this just to help Lorenzo win it. He should be staying out of the way and letting us fight for the championship, yada, yada, yada. And Marquez took exception to it and was like, no, I was just racing you, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And then during the race in Sepang, Rossi and Marquez went toe-to-toe. If you remember, every time Rossi passed Marquez would pass him back and all of this. And then eventually there was that famous incident. Now, Rossi says that he did push him wide to look at him to say, enough, what the fuck are you doing? They did touch and Mark crashed. Rossi says that Mark crashed himself. Marx and most of the world say that Rossi kicked his rear brake, and Mark crashed. Now, I don't know if either true, right? Because
they're still going over this crap. I mean,
if he hit it, yeah, but if he did hit his rear brake, he wouldn't have took the front. Do you know what I mean? So, anyway, regardless of whether who was right or who was wrong and whatever, and then he was saying that Mark was in the race direction room with them, and Alzamora, who was Mark's manager but nothing to do with HRC, was in the room, and he was talking to Mike Webb, the race director, which my understanding is that a rider's manager should not be in the room. It should only be the team director and the rider. Okay, so and Alzamora was giving it Holly and whatever, and Mark wouldn't look at Rossi, and then whatever. And then when the race direction was down, Mark started smiling and laughing and saying, we got him, or we got it, or whatever it is. So Rossi has told himself this narrative of whether it's true or whether it's not true. I don't really. It doesn't. Like, even when I saw it live, I was just like, will you just fucking punch the head off each other so we can all be into fucking things, right?
Just 16 beat the shit out of each other.
No, it's like Rossi and fucking Max Biaggi fucking thing. Do you know what I mean? Have a fight in the stairwell and let's get it done. Do you know what I mean?
You're done. Yeah. I'm just being PC and nice about it, you know?
Yeah. So that's all reared its fucking head again. And when I was reading it, I was like, this is very interesting timing that Rossi is kind of bringing this back up and basically calling Marc Marquez out again. And I was wondering to myself, is this a Rossi tool now to try and distract Mark, do you know what I mean, from doing the job? And then I was like, should Rossi have already learned his fucking lesson? The more you antagonize Mark, the more he's going to fucking do it. So is Mark going to come out and try even more this weekend coming in Misano? So I don't know. Now, I will be fair, and even Marc Marquez's crew chief was, before the start of the race on Sunday, like, Mark has no chance. He's too far back, you know, what not happening, whatever. If Mark has another weekend like this, I don't think Pecco and Martin are going to have the same sort of thing. And if it had not rained, like Davide Terrazzi said to Pecco on the grid, it's not going to rain. And it fucking rained, right? So it was like, he was just like, and there was a funny segment between himself and Mark of never believed that what Davide tells you, right? And, but like this weekend coming, it's back in Misano. Rossi has kind of reignited this thing again. Do you know what I mean?
It's like just when you think it's gone, it pops back up again.
But you know what I was thinking about? I actually do miss the rivalry.
You would.
But like I would just love two racers, right? Like the Rossi Biaggi, Rossi Gibernau. Do you know what I mean? These were brilliant. Like you were tuning in to, right? A, to see a fucking great race, and two, to see the two lads tear fucking lumps out of each other if they have to stand next to each other. Do you know what I mean? Like you look at it, you look at Lorenzo and Danny Pedrosa, the King of Spain had to fucking order them to shake hands. Jody, your king tells you to, like it wasn't like, oh yeah, well done, great race. Like the king told them, like, shake fucking hands and bury it. Do you know what I mean? Like those are that's like every fella in a motorbike racing world on a track day always knows that dirty fucking bastard that you would want to beat the shit out of for annoying you on track or during a race. You know, that you were going down the straight, you know, give him a fucking thump. Do you know what I mean? Fuck off, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? So, but now they're all hugging each other and happy with each other after the race. Kind of do want an all bit of go fuck yourself, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Or you only won because it was fucking raining and I wasn't going to lose my championship, you prick. A little bit of.
I had a guy punch me in the mouth once. Track day, comes up, he goes, bam! And it was so little. The guy was like, he had to be 110 pounds. I was like, whoop.
So he wasn't a threat.
And he ran like, I swear to God, he goes, oh shit. And he goes, oh shit. He's running like a
But you know what I mean? It's just like, I just.
What he was thinking, like I was going to fall down or something?
I miss that bit of aggression, you know, outside the track. And now like everyone wins and they're all fucking congratulations for beating me, you fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. Here's my fucking voodoo doll fucking stabbing you, motherfucker. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, whatever happened to friendly competition? Do you know what I mean?
Boxing where, you know, good fight. You know, no big deal. The worst thing to do is to be a jackass after the fight, or actually even before the fight. You know.
Yeah, but you have a helmet on. No one can see
you go down a boxing gym. You will not find guys. I'm going to kick your ass, blah, 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 blah. And but I had somebody do it. He was a bodybuilder. I'm going to kick your ass, you white son of a bitch. And I hit him in the guts. My fist like hit his spine. Okay, he goes down. The gym owner walks up. He goes, "Welcome to the world of boxing." He's like, he couldn't talk. You know, he was so fucked up. This guy had to drag him off the fucking stage. He's like, you know, he could die.
But again, like, okay, like, all right, you don't have to be punching a fella, right? But like, there could be fucking just, you know, like they're fucking sitting next to each other and they're talking to each other and they're smiling and you know, fuck off, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. It just beggars belief that, like, if you're racing with someone in the championship, you're not supposed to fucking hug them and say congratulations for beating me, dickhead. Like, okay, when the season is over, fine, right? But not mid-season, going over patting them on the back for winning the race. Fucking sort of fucking easier than you. Oh yeah, keep doing it, fucking brother. Yeah, what do you walk home with? Fucking last place, dickhead. I'm telling you, if my son came back from soccer and the fella scored a goal in him and he was fucking shaking hands with him, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you know what I mean? No, I'd be a very polite parent on the sideline.
You're not a fan of appreciation trophies, are you?
Well, like, if you're watching a game and you have no one involved in it, and someone does something good, and you're on an opposite team, you say, "Oh, that was a great move," right? 100% in that, right? But if you're in a racing fucking thing and someone beats you, even though it could be fair and square, but you're battling for a championship, the last thing that you do is give them positive reinforcement from you that, "Oh, well done, you beat me." Dickhead. What the fuck are you doing? Like, do you know what I mean?
I'm looking forward to next week because that's one of my favorite tracks. And everybody should have this shit. Well, maybe not in this case because it was, you know, but everybody says their shit sorted out. I usually the best scenario. Everybody's at their fastest.
I reckon there's going to be more crashes next weekend.
You think so? You think they're going to go over the top? Why would you think that?
Because they're already
last. Because everybody should be tuned in.
They are, but they're tuned in to go to this space. So the pace is already going to be instantly higher.
Yeah.
So to get that little bit more, they're going to have to push through that limit. They push through that limit.
Well, yeah, there is that factor, but
yeah, I think there's going to be more crashes.
Oh, we're going to meet up. We're going to try to meet up with somebody at Coda too.
So yeah, so this was something I was really excited about Misano, because normally, I don't know if people know this, but at Misano every year they release the calendar, and they haven't. So maybe they might release it this weekend coming.
What, yearly calendar?
The yearly calendar for next season is released.
Okay.
Normally at Misano.
I haven't gotten any calendar. I haven't even got any.
So, what we're planning to do, what we're planning to do, if things work out in the way we want to do it, is that we're all going to meet at Kota 2025, and then we're going to do a podcast in the bar, live podcast with everyone.
Yes. You're gonna hear clinkers of glasses,
motherfucker. Yeah.
So, drunken ass going, hey!
Yeah. Well, I have a few things, myth-busting things that I want to do in Texas. They say everything is bigger than Texas. I need to figure this shit out. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, I heard if your dick on is small, you have 2 belly buttons.
Well, at least I know it works anyway. Yeah. But sure, look, It's not playing with my dick. I'll be worried about anyway in Texas. Do you know what I mean? It's food, motherfucker.
So it works.
It's food. It still works. That's fine. I never fired blanks. Started. Do you know what I mean?
There's a cannonball going down. These two guys that are known for their cannonballing, and it's a challenge between the Sim 125 and the Honda CBX CRX 125 scooters, for Christ's sake. They're going 10,000 miles on the scooters.
Yeah.
Cannonball run. You got to give somebody credit for that. 10,000 miles as fast as you can on a scooter with a 125cc scooter.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
They do have a big ass seat. You got to give it to them, for comfort. But my God, you think people are going to be running you over every 5 minutes? Yeah.
Let there be some fucking idiot now come up with something. They'll do it on rollerblades with a rocket pack on their fucking back. Or
yeah.
So it's these fucking weirdos out there. But look,
I'll bet you money. I'll put a bet on you that the Sim beats the Honda, and the Honda has mechanical problems.
When you were saying Sim, I'm going to try and get into sim racing. I don't know if anyone.
No, that's a brand of scooter.
I know that, yeah, but when you said sim, I'm going to try and get into sim racing. Was really fucking expensive. I mean, really, like a sim machine is like $5,000.
What's a sim machine?
So like sim racing, so it's like a steering wheel, pedal, seat, whatever, right? But you actually compete.
Okay.
So you compete online against others. But it's
okay.
It's fucking outrageous. I was looking at it the other day and I was like, sure. Like, I thought maybe $600-$700. So I was just like, and I was just like, I think that might get me just the steering wheel.
Oh no! You got to save that for the MV, man.
But I have to teach my young fella how to drive soon, so I thought it was a cheap way of doing it, but no. Anyway, this weekend's race. Who are you going to go for?
But I'm gonna go for. I'm definitely gonna go for Pecco this time.
Yeah, I think Martin's sprint.
He seemed so confident after the race on that. He says, I was rocking and rolling. He said, I had everything set up. My setup was perfect. When he says his setup's perfect, and he's with him, it's all about confidence and setup. If he got those nailed down, he's hard to beat.
Yeah, I think Martin has a point to prove on Saturday, but it's hard to look past Pecco on Sunday. If I'm honest. But on that bombshell. Well, before we go though,
I think Wishman's going to crash.
Oh, Mark.
I think Mark's going to crash. I think Mark is going to. They'll go faster, like you were saying, and he'll just push it until he goes over the edge. He'll get all hyped up because of the last race.
Yeah.
And just throw caution to the wind. Win it or bin it.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. Yeah. And the biggest question that every viewer has asked or is going to be asking, watching this, what's the story with the Santa beard?
What, this? I've had white hair since, God, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just did this for weight. Because my weight was popping down. Yeah. So I look thinner with it. Because my weight was up and down, up and down, up and down. I gained. So
what you're actually what you're telling everyone is that you're not Santa. And it's coming. It's coming towards the season that it is. The beard will grow.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that bombshell,
I'm more like the Black Christmas. I will shimmy down your chimney and steal all your presents.
The Grinch. Yeah. Anyway, on that bombshell, we will wrap it up today. Thank you everyone again for listening to us. It's time for a couple of beers and the hair of the dog. Not in Springfield, Ohio, I should say.
How do you do that?
And and we will see everyone again next week. Peace out.
Take it easy, guys.